I want to dive into cardio more when it comes to like, women specifically. Like, what do you think, like, from a blanket perspective, are the most like effective forms of cardio for women? And obviously, if you think it's different based on their age, I mean, I'd love for you to go into that as well.
Yeah, when we're looking at the younger age group, like I said, you can get away with a lot of things. If you want to do two F45 classes back to back, go for it. But when you start getting older, you need to be very acutely aware of how to polarize. So we want to do true high intensity work, or we want to do true sprint interval work, because we have to be able to capitalize on these external stressors to now create adaptations. I have a lot of endurance athletes that are like, well, what about wanting to do a 3 day bike packing tour? Or maybe I have some gravel races coming up, or I'm training for a marathon, or I'm training for a 10K or an ultra. I'm not saying to completely mark that off. I'm saying that the bread and butter of what you should be doing as you get older is quality training, not volume. So if you are training for an ultra, it's not the old school of running 20 hours a week. It's let's look at how we are building strength, how we're doing some top end work, and then we spend time on our feet every 10 to 15 days where we go out for 2 really long days at a time. So there's ways of peppering in endurance, but the benchmark is doing that polarized training and strength training. When we're younger, like I said, you can get away with a lot of stuff. You can go for lots of endurance stuff. You can do lots of high intensity work. You can play around with a whole bunch of different things. But as you get older, we have to have that eye to how are we polarizing our training so that we get better blood glucose control, so we get better conversation between the skeletal muscle and the liver so that we don't store visceral fat. How do we have better conversations to create epigenetic changes so that we maintain the quality of our muscle and the quality of our bone? Because those are so key in being able to live independently as we get older.
Right. And I know you're not a fan of doing like things like fasted strength training, but what about like if somebody wants to go for like a walk in the morning fasted? Do you think that there's benefit to that? Do you think there's not a benefit? Like, what are your thoughts?
From a mindfulness perspective, yeah, people get out first thing in the morning in nature. That's great. If they're doing any kind of intensity, then it starts to create a disruption that causes catabolism. And the first thing to go is lean mass. And like I said, it's really hard for women to build mass, really hard for women to keep it. So if you're going to go do something that's long and fasted, that's going to be counterproductive and stimulate the body to break it down, you just want to have a pause and think about that.
Right. So you don't think there's benefits for like fat loss if people are doing fasted cardio? I mean, I know that's been kind of debunked. I feel like over the last probably 5 years, I've seen it. There's been a lot of research against it, but I mean, I know that was like an old thing people used to do to burn fat. Like,
Yeah, and it comes down to women are already really efficient fat burners because we have those sex differences from birth where women have more endurance oriented oxidative fibers. We have better mitochondria, better respiration. We have better metabolic flexibility. So all of these things that come up as go for fasted training, go for a fasted walk for fat burning are all if you're a guy. If you're a guy, you want to become more like a woman, sweet. Go do all your fasted stuff. Then you'll become very endurant and metabolically flexible like women. But for women, it doesn't do the same.
gotcha.